This episode of True Bloods is brought to you by Matchday Money. Show your team spirit right down to your fingertips with Matchday Money. Matchday Money are reusable press-on nails in the famous red and white that will stick through every high five, fist pump, and final siren applause.
Their nails take only 10 minutes to apply and are easy to remove post-match, or can keep them on for 2 weeks. You can choose.
Don't just wear your Swanee scarves, add Matchday Money to your matchday routine. And for the non-money wearers, it's the perfect gift for any sports mad person in your life.
Is this the most one-eyed podcast?
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that.
Yeah, riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast in the home studio today to review the dominant performance against the Tigers, the upcoming clash against the Suns, and everything else about us Swannies girls. I am joined, as always, by the fantastic Alex Donnelly. Alex, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm actually currently just creating 17 different burner accounts on Instagram to vote for Chloe Molloy to be the player of week one. So if you are hearing this first thing Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, and the votes haven't come out, please do that right now.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing. There's a lot of stuff to cover, but first and foremost, go and vote for Chloe as MVP of the week. I think it's the Players Association MVP Player of the Week because she was, and that's not us being biased. But
Not at all.
our girls are back. Our girls are back, Alex.
They are. They are. They started our weekend off perfectly and bouncing into work this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see that I've also got an Arsenal shirt on. My week was fantastic. Anytime that I can get 2 out of 3 wins for the teams that I love, I'm a very happy man. But what made me very happy was Friday night and the performance that the girls put on. Now, there's a lot of positives to take out of it, and there are some negatives and things to work on. But the main thing is dubs in the chat to start the season.
Very big dubs in the chat, no less. Like, I think I had my margin as 9 points. For it to be 20 was even better than what I was expecting. And the girls just came out and showed why we've been talking them up all preseason and why everyone else should have been on the same bandwagon as us, because the fact that Richmond were the favorite going into this game made absolutely zero sense, and the girls showed exactly why.
Yeah, and it's you saw in the end in the week coming up to it. I know a lot of the media here in Melbourne were talking up Richmond, but and I'll never really talk about gambling and pump up gambling. The Swans are $1.55 favourites, so that means out of 10 games they're expected to win 6 times or so. And given the way that that game was played, I'd probably expect the Swans to win 8 times out of 10 in that game, the way that it was played on Friday night. So it's it's good to see that the work that was done in the off season and the stuff that we saw in some of those preseason matches has come to fruition. And that's sort of the main thing, because it's all well and good doing stuff behind the scenes and building up, saying we're ready to go. It's when that first ball bounces on Friday night at North Sydney Oval, showing them that you're ready, and they certainly were.
Yeah. Well, and I think it comes down to the thing that most people are forgetting going into this game, that availability is the best ability, as we like to say on True Bloods. We pretty much have everyone fit and firing, which we just did not have last year. So many people were going into this game being very for the previous year ladder focused, which was just not what was going to happen. Everyone was fit and firing, and not only was everyone fit and firing, they were playing the best football that they possibly can. There was no one in this game that I was like, you're a bit of a passenger. Maybe one, and I'll give her a break because it was her first ever AFLW game. Everyone was fantastic. We had Cynthia Hamilton, who I was a little bit worried about coming into this game because she did do her knee during the preseason, being potentially fully fit. Not even an issue. Kicked probably what will be goal of the year. Like,
I tell you what, I did see, like, if we're talking about pure skill, aside from Candy, and we will never talk about Essendon in a glowing way other than this. The goal that Maggie McLaughlin kicked at Monica Oval on Saturday night was insane. Left foot from the boundary.
yeah,
It was Buddy-esque. But pure Candy in scenes and the celebration,
Ocean, yeah.
Cynthia's winning.
Like, that's going to be I think, an all-time Swans memory for a lot of people, is that Cynthia Hamilton goal, because it was just phenomenal, and obviously the Paps reaction was just
Yes.
as good. But so I came into this game worrying she was going to be not quite her normal self coming off an injury. She was if her normal self, if not better. I was saying to Zaina Wed and Right as the game was happening that this is her breakout season. She is going to be one to watch this year. It was Soph last year. It's going to be her and Mon this year. Um, and I was like, oh, when the teams count, I was like, oh, should we have just gone with Amelia Martin, or should we have gone with Cynthia?
Mm.
And she proved me wrong. So, it's fantastic to see. But then also, I guess we just jump in straight into it. The person who we're talking about as MVP coming off an ACL and playing probably the best game of her career is Chloe Molloy. Like,
Yeah, it's simply insane for someone having their first game off an ACL. And we've seen in multiple different games this week across the competition, there's probably 5 or 6 women that have come back from ACL games and they've looked scratchy, they've looked rusty, and they've worked their way into it. And Chloe Molloy is just business as usual, best player in the competition. As Scotty Gowan said post game, she's the best women's footballer that he's ever seen. And if that's her first game back for 340, 350 days, I can't remember the exact time. I know it was the day after the
the Saints
qualifying
game.
final, so it's about 340 to
Yeah.
350. If she's doing that first game back, what are we looking at in 6 weeks' time when she is fully fit? She's got extreme confidence in her body, like she would on Friday night to be back out there kicking 4 goals, taking marks, but game high score involvements with 8 of them as well, taking marks inside 50, 14 touches. She's not usually a big possession getter, but starting in the middle as well showed that she was simply ready to go.
Yeah.
And she was a
And got a bath
dangerous.
as well and
Mm,
didn't even phase her. Like, she was absolutely getting held 90% of that game. Didn't even,
yes.
it was not even an issue.
Did have that in the notes that there was a few times that she was being held. There was always an arm scrag or things like that, or there was a
Yeah.
time where she had the arm held, picked up the footy, and then got pinned for holding the ball. But she's kicked 4 goals, and this shows what a true professional that Chloe Molloy is. She's more annoyed after the game that she hasn't kicked 6 because I'll give her slack on one of them. She probably should have kicked 5, but she's mad and has seen ways in which she can improve and go better next week. And that's the thing. We've got the win and it's building towards next week and the week after that. And that's how this team has gone. And Scotty said on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever I was in Sydney, that they have done a 16-week strength and conditioning program with their coaches. They have built from grand final week back to last Friday.
Yeah, and it's obvious. Like, you look at all the girls out there, and I even messaged you. So to jump a bit forward, obviously with our bingo cards, there was one thing that had to happen at that game for my bingo card to be successful, and it didn't happen, and that would be a Beck Privatelli 50th goal. But hey, it's fine. But I was making a video to celebrate Beck's 50th goal, and we'll obviously go out when she does kick that. And so I had gone through and went through all the highlights from every game that we've played as a club, which I know sounds insane, but that's the kind of person that I am.
Lucky
And
for you, it's only 30 odd
we,
games.
yeah, look, it's not like I'm going back into the 1920s or something, you know. But we look now the fittest and the strongest we've ever looked in the last 3 seasons that we've been in the competition. It's absolutely absurd. I don't know how we've gone from how we were looking at the end of last year, which wasn't even unfit. Like, I don't think, that last game we played, we looked unfit, but we actually look, from all the games I watched this weekend, one of the fittest teams.
Yeah, and I think that's it was said in the pre-game as well, and it's the same across the whole competition. There is no other sport in the world that has a longer gap between seasons than the AFLW. So it's all about putting that time off to the right use. And as we've seen across the competition this weekend, there are a few upsets, and there are a few teams who did not look ready for round one.
Yeah.
The Swans were ready for round one, and that was the main thing. And they've talked about that, and I think that also helps that there is that such a good connection with just the club as a whole between the men's and the women's program. We are at HQ. You've been there multiple times now. The setup that they have there is a massive advantage, provided that they use it. And they're talking about how, I know she didn't play on Friday night, but they've talked about how Amelia Martin, her first ever time in a professional setup, has been working out with Tanya Kennedy. Tanya Kennedy is breaking records as far as weightlifting is concerned, as is Brenna Tarrant, who looks so much stronger. We said it prior in our preseason preview that Montana Ham had strengthened up massively and looked ready to go. Ali Morford as fit as she was. And then they've even talked about working with nutritionists to get their nutrition right because some of them were under eating, which I suppose for females and being an athlete would be just such a tightrope to walk, given how
Yeah.
it's such a scary thing where it's like being fit or having eaten too much and obviously body shaming, which is just not on whatsoever. But being a professional female athlete is the biggest tightrope they can walk, and they've nailed it.
Oh, 100%. And I think the person that it was most evident in was Ali Morfitt, back to her best. I'm gonna basically say she didn't play last year. She played like what, 3, 4 games,
Three and
and
a bit.
even then, two of the three that she played, I don't think she was actually fit for. I think that was a necessity move because Lexi was suspended. And she looks like she's back, and I would not be surprised if she's the All Australian Rock again this year. She looked so good. Kelly didn't even hold a bar to her at any point, and she wasn't even just doing the rock stuff. It was very Brody-esque, where she was doing everything she needed to do around the ground. And I don't know if the faithful saw that article that Lachlan McCurdy posted before the game, basically talking about how her biggest inspiration is Brody Grundy, and getting to actually train with him has been a huge part of her development, but it was so evident in that game.
Yeah, you look at it. She's had 20 hit outs, 5 clearances, and done a bit of work around the ground. And I would say that's the low end of the stuff that Ali Morfitt can do because
Yeah.
there was parts of her, you could tell her confidence was high. She was trying to take the game on, which is what we love to see. The new holding the ball interpretation hasn't helped her out much. There was one pickup with the left hand, got tackled instantly, done holding the ball, which made no
But
sense to me.
she'd also gotten rid of it as well, which
That
was
was
the
that was the one
frustrating
late.
one.
That was the one
Yeah.
later in the quarter where her shirt got pulled as she handballed it, and it was called holding the ball. Yet she tackles someone who
Yeah.
has the footy, and it comes out no holding the ball. This is something we'll probably talk about a fair bit through the year. But for Ali herself, to see her fit, firing, and I'll be honest, I think there's a lot more to come from her against a team that is pretty good in the midfield in Richmond is a great sign.
Yeah, 100%. I just that's probably that, and having Chloe all season and hopefully all the other girls is the thing I'm most looking forward to seeing, because it made watching last season, I don't want to say hard because I always love watching our girls, but it did make it feel like we could have been so much better if everyone was just available and here. We could have had such a phenomenal season last year, but that's just, now we're in the perfect position to go on a run, because winning the first game in a 12-round season is so important. I can't even understand how important it is. You need to start off on the right foot, because
Yes.
you don't want to be being in round 12 needing to win your last game.
Yeah, and I said this I've recorded AFLW today this morning, and it goes out on Tuesday mornings if you want to listen to that. And I said, this is for Brisbane and Adelaide, who lost their opening games. There is a chance both of those teams can go 0-2. In a 12-game season, going 0-2 then means you need to win probably 7 of your 10 games. Your
Yeah.
window of opportunity is very small. So in a game like this against Richmond, if we played North Melbourne in round one and lost to North Melbourne, I wouldn't be concerned because it's North Melbourne. They're a different
Yeah.
beast. But had we lost this game, I would be concerned about our finals chances. That's how slim these margins are going to be in 2025, especially in a 12-game season. But to win comprehensively and to win with a lot more to improve on is a great sign. And going into a weekend in which I expect us to win once again, there's more to work on, and on a bigger field, we could see
That's yeah.
a lot more from this team because we did not get our run game going at all because the ground is that small.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's so much potential in this team. And I guess we can talk about North Sydney Oval a bit now, because we don't play another game there this season. So we can have our wins that we want to have. I genuinely love that we have an option that allows us to play a nighttime game, but it is too small.
Never
It,
again.
it needs to be like, we need to, I don't know, figure out some other place to play a Friday night game, make the Derby a Friday night game when we played at Spolis. I'm honestly not sure what the solution is, but it is just too small. It does not lead to, like, it was still enjoyable footy, and obviously I had a fantastic time. But when you watch the other games from that round that were played on decent sized grounds, you can sense the difference, and that the game style just does not suit that oval.
If it would somehow work out in the world, I would love to see the men play a 2 o'clock 4:15 game, um, and then almost as a curtain raiser. It's not a curtain raiser, let's be honest, but the men play earlier on in the day, and then the women play after that, because then you could say, hey, hang around, especially going into next year if we've had a good season. There is a way in which to do it, in which you could be like, let's break the Sydney record for crowded at AFLW
Yeah.
game. The Swans have that type of not influence, but have that type of attachment within the community. I was talking to a couple of journalists on the weekend, and they're like, take me through why the Swans have such a stronghold in the community within Sydney, not just there, but also when they travel. There's always a
Mm,
contingent of Swans fans. And I think it's the work that they do within the community, but it's also the links between the men's and the women's club. It's such a one club mentality. It's not they're
yeah.
separate to each other. Then you add in the work that the club does with the Rainbow Swans, all the work that they do in the community with everyone. This is a big opportunity where you look worldwide with women's sport. Arsenal women are probably the benchmark when it
Hmm.
comes to it.
They
You
are. They literally get the highest attendance of any women's sport in the world.
God bless them for it. I will be going to the Emirates in January, hopefully. But it's if they can do that, and okay, maybe it starts. Okay, we do one game a year, and it's as a curtain raiser because you can do that in AFL, not in soccer, obviously.
Yeah.
And then maybe you do it as a derby in round one, and you try and tee it up and have okay. So Sydney are playing GWS in round 22. Okay, well round one of the W's the same week. Let's do a double derby. Like there's
Yeah.
ways to do it. And I think getting away from North Sydney can only be beneficial, despite the Swans being 3-1 there.
Yeah, look, it's if it was up to me and it was, not two times, but slightly bigger, I'd be like, yes, keep playing the first game of the year there. It is a great way for, people on the other side of the bridge that it's a bit far to travel to get to Henson Park. It gives them more of an opportunity to go to a game. I get it. I fully understand that. As someone who lives in the inner west, I am very much of I love the fact that Henson Park is only about a half an hour bus ride away from me, if that. So it's like I get the logic of having it in North Sydney Oval. It's just the conditions of which it provides us. It's just not, it just doesn't work. And it's unfortunate because yeah, it is a fantastic ground and it has so much history and it is such a home for women's sport in New South Wales as well. Like the women's cricket team always play there, and so does the women's rugby team now. So it is a shame, but it just doesn't work.
Couldn't have said it
But
any better.
we'll go back into the game now to talk about a negative. To keep talking about a negative, I guess. Did we not have a tag at play? Because that's what it felt like. Because how did Monconti still have such a good game?
Because Tanya Kennedy was elsewhere laying 11 tackles.
That's what, yeah, I was like, where, what, like, not that I'm saying Tanya needed to go to her the entire game. Tanya did had a phenomenal game, but did we not have anyone else to think, like, and I mean, it didn't end up impacting the game all that much anyway. I just look at that and go, we could have probably even had an even bigger margin if we tagged Mon Conti.
Given our sort of midfield lineup to start with, I think the Swans just backed their system and said, okay, well, she's going to get the footy no matter what, but we'll back ourselves in to beat her. So she's had 32 touches, but for those touches, she's only had 500 meters gained, 17 of those were handballs, and only one goal assist across their goals as well. Yeah, she kicked it behind. And she played the full game. She didn't come off to the bench once. So that just
Yeah.
shows what a
Oh,
supreme
okay.
athlete she is.
Yeah,
So she didn't have one rotation. Whereas last year we shut her down.
we
But
did. Yeah.
Katie Brennan, Egan, one of the Hosking twins, really fired up on us, and they absolutely belted us. But we were like, well, we shut Monconti down.
Yeah.
It's like the
It's
man.
nice to do the opposite, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not really a complaint. It's more just going into this week, which we'll obviously talk about in draft
Yes.
tag, it is like, do we have someone that can play that role? Because I'm just wasn't because obviously it's normally Tanya, but Tanya was doing actual midfield stuff as opposed to just playing that full tagger role. It's just this question: is there someone to do that? Because Hayley Bullis is now gone, and she would do it when Tanya wasn't doing
Yeah.
it. So
I'm not concerned because I think it's also now it's like, okay, we're good enough to take it up to them. And when your starting midfield is Ali Morfitt, Laura Gardner, Chloe Molloy, and Montana Ham, I will take that up against any four except for probably North Melbourne's and say, yeah, we'll beat you.
yeah, that's fair. Well, I'm gonna give you the license right now to talk about your girl.
Just
Take it away,
stretching
Alex.
these out. Montana Ham will be an All-Australian this year, provided she can straighten up her goal kicking. 19 touches, 3 clearances, 5 marks, 3 behinds. She had an almost night. That set shot she just poked at, but what I loved was the confidence to break packs, to run and carry, and to back herself in out of clearance. She's obviously injury free. She's built the tank. She said on last week at HQ that she'd been working with the sports science team, the nutritional team, to have everything ready. It's her 3rd season. But the way we need to look at it is this is probably her first realistic season at it because her first year she was still at school. Last year, injury ravaged. She's about to hit 25 games. She has so much
She
improvement
did,
in
didn't
her.
she?
I
Wasn't
think
this
it's
his
this
25th
week. I
game?
think it's this weekend.
Oh, okay.
I think it's this weekend. I could be wrong. That's off the email from the AFL, so blame them if they've got it wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last weekend.
Okay.
But anyway.
But to do that, to have 19 disposals in your first time playing midfield, and she still only had 60% time on ground. So she's still got a lot of fitness to build, obviously, to come from that. And for her, it'd be about slowly building her up. So come week 7 and 8, when we have the back-to-back North and Adelaide games, she is ready to play 75% game time and be an impact player on the game who can also rest forward. The way that I suppose her confidence in her body has leveled up in the off season, as well as their own confidence in her game, is
Yeah.
insane. She's got a long leg, she's got pace, she's strong. Good luck stopping her if she gets up a bit of momentum. But I thought she was brilliant, and it could have been a massive night if she'd kick straight.
Yeah. She would have been up for MVP if she could have kicked straight.
Hmm.
That game showed to me why she was the number one pick from that year. Like
Yes.
it was, we hadn't really seen this from her yet. And again, not really her fault to blame. She was even injured in her first season.
Yeah.
It's not like it was just because she was young and at school. She was injured then too. And so to actually see her take this to the next level and really, make a name for herself,
Hmm.
it's really exciting to see, and she's only going to get better. There are a couple times where I'm like, oh, decision making was a little bit
Yes.
like, but I think again, she's still young, and that's something that you learn, and that's just from playing. And she should have probably played 30, 40 games by this point, and she's only played 25. So you kind of just go, all right, it's coming. You can see it.
Yeah.
Half the decisions are right, half the decisions are wrong, but we're gonna get it more towards correct.
Well, and that's what I had written down here. That was sort of one of those things to improve on. It's we overused the footy a bit too much, and a few of our kicks, let's be honest, they were just shit, and they
Yeah,
created turnovers. They weren't smart kicks. They were just kicking it long and hoping for the best, but they were kicking to 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, or just sometimes directly straight to a Richmond player.
yeah,
And those are the things that you can improve on. I also think the small ground doesn't help because of the wings
no.
being not wide at all. So they're things that next weekend, I think, at the People's First, that we'll see a massive improvement on, because if with the space that that ground will offer, I think that we'll be able to get our run and carry game going. And the way that we'll be able to lengthen the ground is what will set us apart this season. And that's just not for her. That's also for Sophia Hurley, who I thought had a good game. The kick that she did to Holly Cooper when she took that amazing body mark on Beck Miller was amazing. Shout out to Beck Miller. Her dad was my old principal at Mater Day. Wagga people everywhere. We dominate. But she also had some turnovers as well. And then you
Yeah.
also had it with Zippy, and I can't believe we've gone nearly 20 minutes and we haven't mentioned her
Well, see, the
once.
thing is, we know that we're going to talk about her completely in the second segment.
Yeah,
So that's why she hasn't come up yet. We're not like blue balling you guys. Like
yeah.
we're going to obviously talk about her. But the thing that really stood out to me was they kept on such a small ground, they kept knocking the ball backwards, and that nearly resulted in a goal about 3 or 4 times.
It
And when
led
it's
to
on a
their
bigger
first goal.
venue, yeah, and when it's on a bigger venue, it's not an issue, and you have enough space to make that mistake or use the space to go backwards. But when you're on a field that small, there is no space to go backwards.
Hmm.
You're much better off just going forward. With even with like the decision making going forward and sometimes kicking it to the wrong player. I'm like, at least they were getting it out of that 50. I'd much rather
Yes.
them go that way and then mess up a kick going back and it leading to a goal. So it's not something that I think is going to be an issue at any other point this season, because we don't play on a ground this small again. But that was one thing that really stood out to me. I was like, stop knocking it back. They're going to pick up the ball and score. Like, it was just so clear to me.
Yes.
But they've obviously been built for a very specific game style that it just wasn't going to pay off in that game, but it
Hmm.
will pay off next week, for example.
Mm. Yeah, and just like we're talking about that, then we can also sort of transition that into what the other negative of it was, which is that we missed some opportunities. We talked about Montana having an almost night, but Darcy and Priv, I miss sitters for what I think their skill level is. And Priv herself, and she'll know it. She had an almost night. She had one of those nights where the ball didn't stick in her hands. She shanked a few kicks. It was, oh, it's first up for 9 months. I'm a bit rusty, and that's
Yeah.
fine. We can forgive it that we've won.
And
Had we
like,
lost, you'd be
she's
looking
the
at those.
second eldest on the team, so she also gets a bit of grace with that as well. Like, I understand, and she has a second job. She's
Yeah.
still not a full-time footballer.
Mm.
But yeah, Beck is the kind of player that always has one rusty game and then she'll pick a bag the next. So not going to be down for long. But you did mention one thing that was probably my moment of the game. Not the Cynthia Hamilton goal, not the Zippy Fish. It was Minnie Cooper. It was body work on Miller. That goal,
Miller
I
is
was
6'3" for all those playing at home.
like, and
She's
Minnie
huge.
is 5 foot nothing. Like
160 centimeters, I think I Googled.
she's tiny, and to push her over and get in position to mark that ball and then score the goal and then score a second one within like 3 minutes of the first one. I nearly ran on the field. I was so excited. That was so good to see because she wasn't really impacting up until that point. Didn't really see her at all. And then she really just brought her into the game and it was
Yeah.
just so exciting. Like, it was fantastic. It was so, so good.
And I suppose we haven't done a justice to our defensive five on the night
No,
because
no, we
they were
haven't.
brilliant. Like watching the replay this afternoon and watching it on mute, which was just a savior, thank God. Having that watching Julie's defensive pressure all night, I think it was one of her best games that I've seen. Lucy McAvoy popping up with a few smothers, but then you had Brenna and Alice winning their one-on-ones all night, taking marks, making good decisions. But then Lulu Puller showing a bit of poise. Why we chased her from North Melbourne, Ash Van Loon as well, and even Jazz Grierson, which like mind-boggling why GWS delisted her, but maybe it was also her
Yes.
contract was up and it's like, I don't want to be here anymore, so they'll just delist her and she's going to walk to the Swans. That is a very solid defense that I was concerned about. When you're keeping Yazid to 7 touches, not a goal. Beck Miller has to roll forward to kick 2 of their goals. Katie Brennan goes goalless. It is a very good night for that back five, but those 6 or 7 women who are in that defensive unit, they've had a fantastic evening,
Yeah.
as well as obviously Zippy running off halfback and popping in and taking that mark in front of our G Train, who, geez, I would not want to stand in front of her. She would flatten me.
She's fearless.
Yeah.
I guess again, we'll get into it as I said, but she is a fearless little, I don't want to call her a girl. It sounds so demonized.
She's a young woman.
Because she is. She's like 18. So.
Yes.
But did want to talk about the newbies. So you touched on most of them there, and most of our newbies are in the defensive line, so it kind of just rolls into that pretty seamlessly because we had 6 newbies in the red and white play in this game, and gosh, they've made such an improvement to the way our team looks, especially in that
Yes.
defensive line. Because how many, I don't, you can go back and probably figure out how many times last year I said that was my concern with our team is how we are playing in defense and the fact that it does not ever look stable down there. But something's happened, and these 3 girls have come in. Jazz, Lulu, and Ash have all come in and really just solidified this defensive line. I think specifically being able to let Brenna not have to do everything is what's probably the biggest impact here.
Yes.
Because obviously she's an all-Australian defender, and rightfully so, but she had to do so much work last year. And Jazz in particular was the one that stood out to me. She was intercepting just as much as Brenna, which is so exciting because obviously Brenna's amazing, but it's nice that she doesn't have to be consistently the one that needs to get onto the ball.
Well, you look at it. We've taken 53 marks on the night to 25, and all but 2 Swans players have taken a mark. So to have all bar 2 take a mark is just simply insane. We were everywhere, taking grabs, taking intercepts, and that just goes to show also that our skills are on too. I know we've talked about some of the missed kicks in that, but we were very happy to chip it around defensively, to put in the switch, especially also when we were coming out of transition as well. We'd look for a target, we'd find it. The handball game got going as well. Everything about the game that we wanted to see worked. And then there's things to improve on. There's something that we didn't touch on as well. Alice Mitchell in the last quarter. Zippy Fish got flattened late by Yasir, and Alice Mitchell was over there like a flash into Yasir. It was great. Those are the type of things that Scotty and the crew will probably bring up first of all in the review, going, this is the type of stuff. It's a one in all in mentality. And there was a good push and shove at quarter time, and there was a fair bit across the weekend, which I loved.
Yeah, well, our girl Lexi unfortunately wasn't picked, but they channeled their inner Lexi spirit in winning this game. They were all for one and all for one and none for all. Is that what the saying is? Anyway, like anytime one, yeah, that was a real
You've
deepsism for
just
me.
deebsed it.
I have to say I was stuck in the group chat today, but
Yeah.
that was really living up to the expectations that was put in the group chat today.
Yeah. But
Anyway,
having that, but it just goes to show that they're there for each other, and
yes,
those are the main things that they're going in. And it's the stupidest cliche, but you're going into battle, but you are crossing that line trying to win a game of football, and you know that everyone out there's got your back, and that's the most
yeah,
important thing.
yes, for sure. And yeah, I just couldn't be happier with every aspect. Like obviously we brought up a few nitpicky little things that we thought went wrong, but pretty much everything else was perfect. It was a perfect game and a perfect little mood booster for the horrible men's season that we had.
Yes.
And then the other, so we obviously did talked about Jazz. Lulu, I think this game was probably she was still really, really good. I think she's only going to get better because this game did not really have a wing, and that's her sort of position is to play on the wing. So she did what she could with where she was, but a little bit fumbly. I think that's probably because she didn't really play last year.
Yes.
Um,
Like 2 games.
yeah, so I think as she plays more games and gets back into professional football, she will be better. But and playing at people's first, I think is going to be our real good first signs of what she can be for us.
Yeah, and Darcy
Um,
was good as well. She had a
yes,
decent night. There's a lot to build on from her there as well. I'm still not 100% sure where she fits into our setup. I know she fits into it, but she probably should have kicked 2 goals. She's kicked the first goal. She was in and under, a couple of good tackles, a couple of good marks. So there's plenty to come from her.
yeah, I did not see that game and go, oh, she's going to get dropped. Like she
Yeah.
was just as good. She was one of those players very I mean, she always gets compared to Laura, but and we haven't even spoken about Laura, but
Laura Gardner did Laura Gardner
Gardner
things
things.
and probably could have 40 next week.
Yeah, just stamp it that, if we don't talk about her, she's had her standard Laura Gardner game,
Mm.
which is the best game in the competition.
Mm.
Um, but I was going to quickly say about Darcy that I think she had a game where you just didn't really see her, and then you watch the replay and you're like, oh, she's doing a bunch of different stuff behind
Yeah.
the scenes and she's doing what she needs to do. So it was really great to see. But yeah, phenomenal game. I'm hoping this is a glimpse into how the rest of our season is going to go.
There'll be a lot of these if you're
A
watching along
lot
on
of
YouTube. A
these,
lot of
a
these.
lot of these, probably at the filter if you're at Henson Park. That's where I
Yes.
think we're going to end up. But we'll be back with Seg 2 just after this. Show your team spirit right down to your fingertips with Matchday Money. Matchday Money are reusable press-on nails in the famous red and white that will stick through every high five, fist pump, and final siren applause.
Their nails take only 10 minutes to apply and are easy to remove post-match, or can keep them on for 2 weeks. You can choose.
Don't just wear your Swanee scarves, add Matchday Money to your matchday routine. And for the non-money wearers, it's a perfect gift for any sports mad person in your life.
This is True Bloods, and we are back for segment 2, or it shall be known as this week, Zippy Fish's segment. All 26 disposals broken down in intricate detail. Yes, Deebs, intricate detail.
Yeah, oh my God. I don't even know where to begin with this
He
because
didn't get the Rising Star is the first port of
it's the
call.
first point. Yeah, so we're recording this on Monday. It's probably going to come out on Wednesday, so most people will know by now. Lou Painter got the Rising Star nomination, even though Zippy Fish broke the debutante disposal record.
Yeah, and I
Anyway,
think
Lou had also had a phenomenal game, so I'm not
yeah,
really that
she
upset
kicked
about
3 goals
it.
in a quarter and
Yeah,
won West Coast that game off her boot. So I
yeah,
understand it. I also think being a forward is one of the hardest things to do in AFLW. So to kick 3 in your debut game, I reckon that's fair enough because Zippy could have 30 this weekend and then she'll
yeah,
get it.
yeah. But I so let's roll back because I have gone into this week or this previous week, and probably for the previous 3 weeks, messaging Alex being like, I am so stressed for Zippy Fish. I am so stressed for Zippy Fish because what has happened is because she has such an iconic name, it's the one person that the entire AFL community has grabbed hold of and been like, she is going to be a star. And definitely the star power was there. I did not deny that, but I was like, this is so much pressure to put on an 18-year-old who has never played a game of AFLW before. And they're now putting the whole league's pressure on this one child, and I was so stressed going into this game. And then immediately all my stresses were relieved.
Within about 15 minutes, I think you were fine, especially when she took that first intercept mark, dished off, got a 1-2. I think we were like, oh, yep, no, we're all good here because
Yeah.
the especially in Melbourne, for those who are listening to this in Sydney, last week leading up to the start of the season, all the talk was about Ash Centra. Ash Centra, number one draft pick, she's going to be a star. No doubt about it. She's going to be a star. She had 3 touches on Thursday night in her first game. And fair play to her, Collingwood were a bit shit, and she
Yeah.
played it up forward. But
Yeah.
first touch, first goal for Ash. And she did a pretty cool bounce thing before the game that's now taken hold of the internet. We
Yeah.
love that. We absolutely love that because that's going to make people want to go and watch Ash. The pressure that Ash was under was enormous as well, and she's only had 3 touches in an average team in a forward line. I get it. Zippy Fish has equaled the disposals record for a debutante in the AFLW. And these are also people, yes, Polly, I know you've got your finger up. She has created her own record as a debutante who was drafted because Bree Davey obviously been playing VFLW for years, and Bree Davey's an absolute star as well. But to have 26 touches in your first ever game of AFLW as an 18-year-old, holy shit, we have a player on our hands. And they weren't junk touches either. They were
No.
important.
No, I think one of the we'll go and see Ask the Faithful in a second because we did make it obviously Zippy Fish themed. My immediate thought leaving the ground was I do not remember a Swans debut, and I'm talking not just club debut, I'm talking specifically a debut, to be as impactful as that probably since Errol. And Errol was always the top one for me. I nothing compared to Errol in my eyes when it came to Swans debuts. And Zippy may have taken that crown from him. That's how good she was. Like, it just, you look at that, and apart from her size, you would have
She's
thought
so
she had been
small.
playing for 5, 6 seasons. Like, it was just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones where she passed the ground eye test and the TV eye test, which is very rare.
Yeah. She completely got through the vibes test. She got through the gun name, could be a cult hero, to be, oh no, like she's going to be
A
a
gun.
star.
Yeah.
And shout out to Eliza Riley and Nick Rinn from over in WA, where Zippy's from. Nick Rinn has been talking about Zippy Fish for 3 years. Eliza Riley's been talking about Zippy Fish for 2 years. They've seen her since she was 15 years old playing senior footy in the waffle over there and being like, this girl is a star. Whoever drafts her has got a gun. And they've been talking about her consistently if you go through their timelines.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's the same with
yeah.
any of the WA fans that watched her. Like I got a lot of people from WA being like, please look after our girl, and being very jealous that we got her in the West Coast or Frio. Um, and yeah, thank God we did,
if
honestly.
if last season's injury cursed, riddled, horrendous year sitting on the hill watching us lose led us to a Zippy Fish, it's going to be all worth it. And
Yeah, I
so
can't complain too much.
my dad hasn't watched much AFLW just because he hasn't, and that's fair enough. He watched on Friday night because I was like, no, you need to watch this. They're going to win. They're going to play finals. He texted me at halftime. He's like, Zippy Fish is a star.
Yeah,
That Tim
I
Dunlop,
got
64-year-old man watching probably his first full game of W. He's watched bits and pieces, and he's like, "Yep, star." If
I got
you're
the same message from my dad, except it was about the Cynthia Hamilton goal. And then I said something about her being like, because my partner Jono thinks she's the
yeah,
best player in our team. And he said, no, it's Zippy. I was like, okay,
yeah.
dad.
So this is where and you look at the work like Marnie Vinyl and Ed Burke and a few others here in Melbourne have done, and Kate McCarthy as well. This draft crop, not just Zippy, not just Ash, but then Havana Harris, who we'll talk about in
Yeah.
the preview. And you're looking at Molly O'Hare, you have Maggie McLaughlin over the weekend, Painter, Ella Roberts as well. I know she's a bit older. We are in a age now where this draft crop and these current guns that are early 20s will be grabbing the next generation. And they will also be like aspirational figures where young girls and even young boys be like, I want to be like Zippy Fish. I want to be Ella
Yeah.
Roberts. I want to be this person or that person. We are the AFLW, I suppose women's footy around Australia, and I'm going off on a tangent. It's going to happen all year. Deal with it. Has gone from 281,000 registered participants in Australia in 2014 to about 600,000 last year. You think of that growth over 10 years from 281 to 600. Think of what the growth's going to be in another 10 years. Like we are on the
Yeah.
precipice of something awesome here. Sit
Yeah.
back and enjoy it.
It feels very nice to be an early adopter and just being like, we told you so. We
Yeah.
told you should have jumped on board. And obviously, you can jump on board whenever it does not make a difference. But
No.
it is very exciting to see it come through. But we did pose a question to the faithful, basically just giving everyone the license to talk about how phenomenal she was. So we went with Zippy Fish lived up to the grandeur of her name, with a debut like no other. The term rising star has never been more fitting at this point. I thought she was going to get it, but anyway, where does it rank for you amongst debuts? Where do you see her ideally playing in the future? Best answers to be featured on the potty. I think I'll start with Mans. We love
Yep.
Marnie Vinyl over here. She said best round one along with Lucia Painter for mine.
For
For yours,
yours.
Mans. And agreed. Like, no, I don't think we're gonna ever. Oh, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think we're ever going to get anything like this again.
Yeah, over on your Twitters, on your X's, your Elon's favorite platform, Nova Cascade, fantastic debut. Haven't watched as much of the W games as I would have liked, but it was right up there with Errol and Logan against Brisbane a few years back. Fingers crossed that Zippy becomes as good as Errol in a couple of years. You know what, Nova? Couldn't have put it any better myself.
I really like this one from Mulchcore Enthusiast over on your Instagrams. I think I think her kicking really stood out. We see a lot of floaty kicks,
Loopy.
loopy, floaty kicks in the W, not criticism, just an observation. But hers was a lot sharper, like Bonconti. Her decision making was great too. Yeah,
Actually, alongside that, Ellie McKenzie might have the best kick in the competition.
yeah.
Holy shit, I love watching. It's something about left footers. I've just gone offside, but I needed to mention Ellie McKenzie's kicking because, oh my God, I want someone lacing me out. It's probably Ellie McKenzie or Errol
Yeah.
Goulden. We've got to shout out the great Zane Red and White because, excuse me, he was up and about. He asked a few questions on Friday, asking what to look out for, and we warned him. So by
Yeah.
far the best Swans AFLW debut in our short history. Her composure, skill by foot, and bravery suits the role of halfback perfectly for us for now. Having her kicking out is an absolute weapon, but we could see her on a wing in no time and having stints in the middle, Errol-esque.
Yeah, I think
We're going to have a
that's
lot of Errol
a lot
comparisons.
hey, look, and I that's probably the best compliment you can give, right? When you're a
Yes.
Swans fan. But I think ideally she'll stay probably down back for the remainder of the season. Maybe towards the end she'll start moving into the middle as her. But
Yeah.
I think once her rig starts getting a bit bigger is when we'll see her move out of that defensive line. But I'm more than happy for her to doing all the kick-ins until then.
Yes. What about
Yeah.
the set play from the kick in? We need to mention that where she runs out towards the bench and then just goes bang, goes no higher than 5 foot off the ground, hits Montana Ham on the chest. And if Montana hit a target, then it could have been the greatest set play in
I
our
know.
short W history. But
It could have been the greatest set play in our club's history, honestly. It was
we've done it a
fantastic.
few weeks ago when Haynes took the specky handball
True,
off.
true, true.
But
But still,
having something like that, having a weapon of a kick like that, where she can just stroll out, take an extra 10 or 15 yards, and lace someone out, it's going to be something that, and this will be something that we mentioned in the preview, that this weekend we will be able to use because it's a weapon that Gold Coast do not have.
exactly right. I like this one from Beck Richards over on your Facebooks. Zippy has such athletic ability. It's insane. I can see her creating chaos in the midfield for sure. She seems like to have no issue competing against the bigger body players. So true. No fear. She's a weapon. Us Western Australians have been thrilled to have her join the club. Just spewing there's no WA fixtures for our W squad this year. Yeah, that is a shame. I would love to have for her to have a home game this year.
Yeah,
But final against Rio.
that's it. Yeah, yeah, they looked good on Sunday too.
Yeah.
There's another one. I did enjoy this from Philip Devinson. Got to be slotting into the men's side for sure. Zippy on one flank, Lizard on the other. And then someone replied, "We would never lose again."
Yeah. And then Pelly down the middle is the three best animal nicknames in the
Yes.
competition, just running around together. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And I reckon one final on Darcy
Yeah.
Richmond. I was spotting her 24/7 during the game, and that dash, question mark. The speed is unmatched. No Tiger player could keep up with her. It was shades of Jetta down the wing in 2012.
Yeah. I mean, it's just compliments galore. I don't know how else we can say it. She's gonna be phenomenal. Don't want to put too much on a pedestal in case there's a drop off, but I really don't think there's going to be.
Yeah, it's it's going to be a hard act to follow for her next
Yeah.
weekend. But you feel like, and you saw her in the interview that she did after the game, and if you're listening to this and you've got a subscription to the Daily Telegraph or Code Sports, read the piece that she did with McCurdy, where basically nothing really phases her, and we sort of figured that out last week, where she did an interview with Mel McLaughlin, and they're like, "Why do you post what you do on the internet?" She's like, "Oh, it's fun. I just want to do
Yeah.
it." Like she just seems like she
She's
just
so
wants to
Gen Z.
she wants to play footy, have fun, doesn't get nervous or overawed. Whereas me, I'm like, oh, is that real that I did like gonna hit? Are people gonna like it or call me a dickhead? Like it's insane. Just not the mindlessness, just the ease and confidence within her own ability that she has. And playing 3 years of senior footy, I guess, will do that to her. She's been
Yeah.
waiting for this moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think like very quickly, big shout out to the Swans for inviting us to the media day. Alex and I had a phenomenal time. Got to hang out with the players. Wished it was slightly longer, so we got to hang out with more of the players, but we got to make some fantastic content. And the girls are just so, so lovely. Just exactly how you would expect them to be, so willing with their time and just absolutely love all of them. So very big shout out to the Swans for having us because we had a fantastic day, and I have been not stopped thinking about those scrolls since then.
Yeah, true. I was honestly just thinking about them then. And shout out to my good close personal friend Chloe Molloy for signing my football card. That she promised to do the next time she saw me.
Well, speaking of Chloe Molloy, we do have the Chloe Molloy shirt up available for pre-order now. If you have not seen it on the socials, the link will be in the description, also in the bio. We are only keeping the pre-order open this week so that we can make sure you get them during this season. So if you are thinking about getting one, do it now. Chloe has posted it herself. She approves it. Her mom's bought one, and Jade Ellinger has bought one as in her partner. So if you want to be in the Chloe Club, go get a shirt now. They look, I designed them and I think they look fantastic. So
Buy them before Chloe's mum buys them all up. We were
yeah,
pre-warned by Chloe that her mum would probably buy all the stock. I
yeah,
have my pre-order in. Deeb's made me pre-order it, so I'm in. So make sure you
yes,
do get your shirt, and that's how you segue.
exactly right. But we will be back right after this to talk about the Suns game and get into some tipping. Welcome back to True Bloods. We are now jumping into the match day money preview. Use code TrueBloods10 for 10% off at checkout for all your beautiful nail needs. I cannot wait to get my set. I've ordered them and they're coming this week. So next week on the pod, I will have fantastically red and white nails, which I'm very excited about. But we are coming up against the Suns on Saturday afternoon up at People's First Stadium, which I am very excited about because, without saying it, it should be a pretty good day for a big Swans fan.
I enjoy that we're playing on a big deck. I'm looking forward
Yes.
to that. It's going to be a great time. I will be that annoying guy at the MCG watching this game on my phone because I'm going to
Mm.
watch Jezza kick 15 against Richmond as well.
I got called a bad Swans fan for wanting him to kick goals against us yesterday.
I
But
love that we
anyway.
kept him goalless, by the way.
Oh, so do I, but I'm also like, if I had to watch us lose, I would have also liked to have seen a Jazz bag. That was
Yeah,
my
true.
sort of
Fair. I
logic
get it.
behind it.
I get it.
Anyway, but the girls, People's First, this is our first time back there since our very famous first ever finals win, which was fantastic. And I was there and it was amazing to watch our girls play on this deck because they really utilized the space. I think it can't be understated that this and GMHBA are really the only two premier venues that the girls get to play at, and I'm so excited that we get to play at both this year, which is really, fantastic for us to try new things. But I think our game style suits this venue so well.
Yeah, as I've said and sort of alluded to the whole show is that we were good at North Sydney, but we're going to be able to use our elite kicking skills and how fit we talked about how we were last week. We're going to use all of that this weekend and really stretch the Suns because they're a team who they struggled defensively on the weekend against a West Coast team who I think we're much better than.
Yes.
I think they'll struggle. Like, their best defender, Daisy Darcy, is out. Obviously, Tara Bowana went across to Carlton in the offseason as well. I think across the field, provided that we bring the intensity and effort that we brought last weekend, there is a big day out for a lot of players here. And
Yeah.
there's a bit of revenge here because we blew it against them last year. Absolutely blew it.
The worst game of the year last year that I don't remember ever being more angry at a game when we played the Gold Coast when we played Gold Coast last year because we should have won that and we didn't. And this is going to be a real nail in the coffin, I think. Like, just we're going to go absolutely mental. But they do have a couple good
They
players.
have a
I
good
will give
midfield.
them
They have a
that.
very good midfield.
They've obviously got the girl who we were desperately, desperately hoping would come to the Swans in the off season, but she chose to stay. That would be a Charlie Rowbottom. But I do think their midfield, while good, still they have one good player and then the rest are good. We have four very, very good players and more that can go in if there need be. So I do think we come up better against their midfield than they do us. And I just, Tanya's just going to go straight to Charlie and basically keep her out of the game.
Well, that's it. I think the physicality that Tanya brings and how strong she is up against Charlie will be something that we sort of go after here because she on the weekend wasn't the best game by her standards, and yet she still had 25 touches, but 16 handballs, only 4 clearances as well. So there's probably some improvement for Charlie to come on the weekend. But you had to look at like Maddie Brancaziano as well. She had a decent game. Lucy Single is very damaging by foot. She gets it and looks to kick every time. I think the Swans this week will put some work into Havana Harris because she should have been the number one draft pick. She wasn't because Collingwood wanted to pick centre and Havana was a Gold Coast Academy player.
Yeah,
Havana Harris is going to be a superstar. I can't
without a
understate
doubt.
enough. She is a genuine unicorn. She
Hmm.
is tall, she's athletic, she's fast, she can kick the footy, she's as strong as an ox. She will be a very difficult matchup to come in a few years' time. But right now in game two, where she's probably still figuring it all out at AFLW level, there's ways in which you'll be able to get her so I suppose get at her as far as the matchup is concerned. But she's one to watch. They're probably the four main players for them, as well as Lily Mithen, who's a premiership player at Melbourne as well. But across the board, I worry about their defenders. I worry, as in, I don't think they
Mm,
have any, and I
no.
don't think they've got any forwards. And you look at the matchup last year. 11 players that played for the Swans last year will not be playing this game on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
11.
that's
That is massive. Like
that's
there is
half the team.
there is some there's delistings, there's a trade, and there's just three or four of them that just simply won't get a game. There was no Ali Morfitt, there was no Montana Ham, there was no Chloe Molloy. Sorry,
I
Montana Ham
think
did
this
play. There was no
no,
Laura
does it mean
Gardner.
LG? Yeah, LG missed this game.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to be a whole different kettle of fish. I've written in my notes, and we'll see if this pays off. I think someone's going to kick five plus in this game.
Oh, there is no doubt about it. There is a chance for players to have a big day.
Yeah,
Laura Gardner, she looks as fit as a fiddle, and she was zipping around that North Sydney Oval with absolute ease on a bigger ground where she can stretch her opponents, where she can back her fitness in and try and outrun Lucy Single and Charlie Rowbottom all afternoon. She could rack up possessions like there is no tomorrow. You've also got Sophia who could have a big game in there. Ali should just stand in the center square and just
yeah.
patrol that area all day because our defenders are good enough, and then we've got our forwards that are good enough. But if she takes that zone in the middle of the ground, takes marks and dishes off all day, like the run and carry that we saw last week can absolutely rip this team apart.
Oh, without a doubt. And I am very, very excited to see it happen. Like it's just going to be this into the men playing West Coast straight after it.
What a day.
What a day. Could be a record-breaking day as a Swans fan. Let's be like, well, I mean, obviously wait and see. But it's just this is going to be a really, really good test for our girls, and it's gonna be not quite like when we were in the VFLW last year, but I think it's going to have a kind of a similar vibe to that, if I'm being completely honest. So,
Once again, not here talking about betting, but the Swans are minus 15 and a half as far as favourites are concerned. Gamble responsibly, but that is a bet.
that is again, people one relying too heavily on the ladder of last year and not knowing the league well enough because they're looking at the fact they beat us last year at home and they're going, okay, they're going to beat us this year. There's no like actual depth into that
You also
really at
add
all.
add in as well, and I know it's a 9-day break. Perth to the Gold Coast is the longest trip in football. It is a tough trip. So
Yeah.
when you do that, you do need to consider they had to stay there Thursday night, tough game. Then they had to fly home Friday. There's all of your Friday gone. I don't know what kind of recovery they do. It's 7 hours home. That's a long flight. Then you've got to do your recovery, back into training, review the game. Swans played at North Sydney Oval. They're at home in their bed all week. They'll fly up on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
The advantage is there as well that the Swans will have. It was also a very tough ground over in Perth on Thursday nights. It's
Well,
been
yeah, and
raining
it
there
was a
for two
last minute
weeks.
change as well. Like,
So there's a lot of things to go into the fact. I know that we're quite clearly confident about how we're going to go, but there is a lot of advantages that we have compared to the Suns this week, and I think there is a chance for us to make a statement this weekend,
yeah,
provided we take our opportunities.
100%. And I cannot wait. Alex, who are you inviting to the party?
Oh, this is a tough one because you think of all the things that we can do and all the ways in which we can improve from last week. I'm going to stick with Montana Ham.
Yeah.
She could have 20 and kick three this week. She had 18 and three behinds last week. If she can roll forward, kick a couple of goals, I think it's a big day for Montana. Also, a mini party invite to Laura Gardner. I've put my stake in the ground that she's going to break the possessions record on Saturday, provided we get a good clear day up on the Gold Coast. Look out, that 45 has got her name written all over
I
it.
was gonna say, this is gonna be a really good day for our bingo card.
Yeah. I mean, I ticked a lot of it off in round one, in fairness.
Yeah, yeah. So, as we said, if there will be some sort of punishment for whoever doesn't win. So, let us know who you if there's something you want to see. I have something in mind for Alex, but if
I
there's
gotta
something
think
you
about this then. Jesus.
yeah. So, but my invitation to the party is
Yep.
for Ali. I think it's fantastic to see her back and firing, and I think this is going to be a fantastic game for her. And I've also have on my bingo card that she's going to break the hit out record this year. And unless Havana Harris spends a lot of time in the ruck, I think it could be this game.
So
Um,
last week, Havana Harris, I have got it here,
she didn't.
had
She had
one
one
hit
hit
out.
out.
She had one
Yeah.
hit out.
She,
So
I don't
that
think she
that
went in at
that
all.
probably means that Davies and Gregory are probably going to play in the ruck,
Yeah.
and Ali's probably got them covered from a skill and athletic point of view.
Selection wise, is there anyone you can see coming out? Anyone you see coming in? My thought is, even though I don't want her dropped because I think that sucks after a debut, we might see Reed dropped and Lexi brought in. Lexi just obviously brings more experience and more forward pressure. But being a not the hardest competition, we might just see her get a second game
Yeah,
just to see how she goes.
yeah. There's unless it is just a swap for Lexi for Reed, that's the only thing I can see.
Yeah,
I can't see anything else getting changed, given the
no.
fact that we had such a wide array of players who played well, and no one really let the team down last week. So unless there's any injuries that we don't know that have come from the game,
Yeah, we
um,
won't know till tomorrow. So sorry,
yeah,
Faithful. Check the injury
yeah,
report when it comes out.
unchanged.
Yeah. All right. Tipping. Well, I
Tipping.
had a pretty good week, except for the fact I didn't tip North. And
Honestly, what?
I'm still it's really still for me to tip the dogs.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I'm blaming the AFL app on that one that I've ended
Yeah.
up with. I've ended up with five or six. I don't know. It's just
I
I ended up with five, and yet in my work one I got seven. Makes sense of
yeah.
that.
I had a 7 week. Obviously didn't tip the same as I was nearly going to change my tip, which I was also kind of annoyed about. But
Yeah,
tipped the Jook Cats to beat North because I thought that was the one chance they won't go undefeated, but they're going undefeated now. I'm all on
Flagger is
board.
unbeaten. All right, Paul, I'm going to
All
take you
right,
through it. I'm going to take over and host this part because tipping
go
and gambling
for
is
it.
my type of thing, as we all know. Saturday, Victoria Park, 10 minutes from my house. I will not be setting foot on this ground to watch this game. Collingwood, oh, take on GWS, who were.
Spoon ball.
Oh, I don't think it's a spoon bowl, but geez, GWS are
It's
bad on the
bad.
weekend. Collingwood
It's
showed something, and Alice Parker out for the season is a killer for the Giants. Collingwood get it done
Collingwood.
by a goal. It's
Yeah.
going to be a bad game.
Yeah. No Friday night game is interesting as well. I know
That's
also
also
some
now
games are still
no,
on, but anyway.
yeah, yeah. So they're cramming a lot of them in on the Saturday because
Yeah.
I understand it. Having a look here, yep, Collingwood favourites. Go to Casey Fields. Very interesting game. This. Who wants to go to
Yeah, it's gonna
Casey?
be this might be game of the round.
It
I
probably
want to
is
go Saints.
second game of the round. Melbourne take on St Kilda. Of course, St Kilda knocked off the Crows in amazing fashion yesterday afternoon. Just ran all over them. Adelaide looked a bit rusty to say the least. I'm going the D's.
I'm gonna go the Saints. I think they're due for, they might go for another upset. But the D's also looked good, so that could
Yeah.
really go either way. And then we've got
Swannies by how far?
54.
67. We're talking goal. We're talking GWS in the numbers last week. And another game, match of the round vibes. Fremantle, big win last week over Port Adelaide. Take on the Lions, who could go 0-2. It's the third year in a row Brisbane have lost their opening game of the season. They kicked themselves out of it.
Big flight as well. I reckon, yeah, Freo.
Tipping Freo at home as well. They look good.
Yeah.
Kiara Bowers back from having another baby. 14 tackles. Kinetic Stadium, 7:15. It'll be nice and cold. Hawthorn take on Carlton.
Hawthorn.
Windy Hill, Sunday. I might go to this game. Essendon take on the
Oh.
Bomb Rays.
I reckon West Coast.
I reckon
I
West
think that
Coast
was an
too.
inflated score because they were playing the Giants, to be honest. And I think
Yeah.
West Coast showed me enough against the Gold Coast.
Yeah. North Melbourne, Port Adelaide,
North.
Richmond and the Dogs. That's a Richmond win, you'd think.
Yeah, the Dogs didn't look great. I think it's Richmond, yeah.
I take it back. I'm going to Arden Street. I'm going to watch North.
That's a much better game to watch.
Yeah, and Arden Street's closer. And they do good. The hot chips at Windy Hill are the worst hot chips in the AFLW. So
yeah.
Arden Street does
Don't
good
go there
food.
for
They have food trucks. Unley Oval, which I think is Sturt's home ground. We will
Yeah.
play the Crows at Unley Oval later this year. They take on Geelong, and geez, Adelaide are short price favourites here.
I'm going Geelong.
I'm going the Cats too.
Yeah, they showed a lot against North. I really thought they had it until the start of the last quarter. So yeah, and Adelaide didn't really show me anything against the Saints.
And Hannah Munyard looks like she's got a foot injury, so she will definitely not be playing. It was one of those, I can't pronounce it, syndesmosis. I think I nailed it then, actually.
I think you got it there, yeah.
Yes, absolutely stuffed it up earlier today. We will take that faithful, but I'll tip the Cats. I'm tipping a few upsets this week.
Well, paid off for me last week, and I'm currently coming second in the True Bloods competition. So I'm expecting to drop this week. I don't usually stay at the top very long, but I'll take it while I get it. There is a reason I'm on this podcast. So. But that pretty much wraps us up. Remember, get the Chloe shirt. It's in the description. It's in the bio. You only have until Sunday to pre-order it if you wanting to get it. Do not miss out. Do not message us in about 3 weeks' time when we're doing really, really well and you realize you want a Chloe shirt, because we won't have any. So get in there now. Also, thank you to Mash Day Manny. Go get your nails or pre-order them or order them now. 10% True Bloods 10 for 10% off at checkout. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. But this has been True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We're #1 in the hearts. We're #1 in the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom. Up the potty.